Alrighty. Hello everyone. Welcome to my streaming session. It's 2:30 and let's dive into today's thing that I'm going to talk about. So I think I've advertised it yesterday on my Twitter and LinkedIn that I will be doing a testing on creating a serverless application using Camel on both Kubernetes and or Knative and compare that to Amazon Lambda. Well, the reason why I started doing that is because I've been doing a lot of videos on Camel K, and I thought it's quite neat to actually create all this application on top of Knative, which makes it serverless, right? So I was curious about all the journey that people can do in order to get the serverless application working, right? So the most popular one right now out there is Lambda. So disclaimer here, I'm not gonna be like doing a lot of like pros and cons and compare because by no means I'm no expert in Lambda. I played with Lambda like 3 years ago when it first started. I created my own Alexa content so that it would start up my OpenShift environment and all that. That's like a crazy demo that I did. And then I kind of just left it alone because there's not much I want to do on top of that again because at the time it was pretty minimum and the amount of code you have to write is a lot. So I was like, I don't want to dive into that. So I stopped doing it. But as you can see, it became a lot more popular these days because I think it's the need of people doesn't want to predict their load. And it's honestly like the load is pretty unpredictable on the internet. So that's why I think that people are going onto serverless because now you can handle the load more fluctuated load. And also that the ability to scale down to zero and not have to pay for it while you're not using all that kind of stuff. So I think that's why. You've seen me doing some Camel K stuff I don't know if I want to do like introduction for Camel K, but like for those of you who joined the first time, like I think I'll do like a quick 20-second introduction to what Camel K is, right? So what Camel K is, it's actually a sub project from Apache Camel. So it's kind of like the technology that you use to connect from one point to the other without rewriting all this crazy libraries, setting up configurations and all that. All you need to do is just write a from and to, and that's all you need to do. And what Camel K is it's taking Camel to another level. So normally when we have to put our code up on Kubernetes, you have to containerize it and then like write a bunch of deployment config, services, routes, and all that kind of crazy stuff. Camel K just does everything for you, right? So you're gonna see that today anyway, but I'm just like giving you a heads up, so that's what Camel K is. So, and because that kind of got me really curious because now I can do serverless applications so much easier. How does that compare to Lambda? So that was the whole purpose. And I'm gonna go through let's take a look at the strategy I want to do, right? So I had a look at Lambda yesterday, not yesterday, over the weekend, and just doing some quick demos on top of that, quick try out like all that functions and stuff like that. And so here's what I want to do. That's do something that's simple, right? So normally when you invoke a function, you want to go and invoke it, right? And then we'll start up. So when you invoke it through, say, an API or whatever that was, your instance go up, right? So that's normally what serverless does, right? So you'll be writing your snippet of code right here, and then it's gonna go up, right? So same applies to my other scenario where I'm going to create a very simple application that is going to be called by a RESTful API, and this one will scale this one up, right? So that is what I'm gonna do, right? So the environment I will be using, well, that's pretty simple. So okay, hold on, let me see. I'm not sharing my screen again. That's like stupid. All right. Let's do that over again. All right. Oh, hopefully that you see it here. Okay, cool. So this is the scenario, going over it again. So we're going to start by creating an application or a function in Lambda. And then we're going to create exactly the same thing, both using Camel. So we'll be using Camel on both applications. So it's because for me, it's me writing a Camel application, right? So as a Camel developer, I want to put my stuff on top of those both platform and make them serverless. And both of them will be invoked with a API call. So both of them will then scale up and then serve my application, like serve my calls. So this is what I'm gonna do for the first scenario, and then I'm gonna go more on connecting to other places and stuff like that. So let's get started with this, right? So this is the platform that I will be using today. So this is a OpenShift platform, which is also like a commercialized Red Hat version of Knative, right? And Kubernetes, of course. And then I'm using the Lambda, AWS Lambda. So that's the two platform I want to use, right? I'm going to create a new function. So I'm going to start by going to the easy route, for me at least, like, because I'm more used to writing Camel application on Kubernetes. So let's go ahead and see how that's done, like in Camel K, right? So this is, so hold on, let me just close everything here. Save. Obviously, I've been doing some testing. Okay, here it goes. So this is the application, right? And I want to start by creating a RESTful services, right? Let me go ahead and create a RESTful service. And want to do a post. And with this post, let me just make it prettier. And with this post, let's call it say hello, right? And then we're gonna create a route. Can't be bothered writing a route, let's do it here. And then do a set body. And let's do a simple. Just say hello, right? Hello. And then let's say the body would be the name to say hello to, because that's the body of the request. And then, yeah, that's it. And rest. Oops. And rest. Set body. Oh, I don't have to end rest. I can just do that, right? Yeah. So that's my application. So all I need to do is just to do a camel. So hold on, I need to log in first. Just make sure that I am in the right project, OC project. So I want to deploy to this current environment, which is this project here called live demo. And this one already has something pre-installed for me, because in order to run Camel K, you actually have to have the Camel operator that's listening to the changes and the things you wanted to make, right? So that's why I have already installed, and also the Knative, which is OpenShift Serverless, installed in this environment as well. And so that's it. So I'm gonna like start creating it. As you can see now in the serverless in the serverless side, there's nothing created. So I'm gonna go ahead and then do a camel run web app, and then I want to use Quarkus because it's a lot faster. So I'm just like enabling my Quarkus and then using the default platform for Quarkus. And let's go ahead and then do it. So as you can see now, it would start compiling and pushing things onto my environment. And now you can see that this has created, and all the other services and the route has created. Just automatically creates everything for me. And all I need to do, oops, that's not the route. And all I need to do is just take this and then go to my Postman. And then do com, say hello. And then let's put my name, Christina, or Christina Lin. and then send. And then it's gonna send me back, hello, Christina Lin. And you can see now the application is actually running, and now you can see that it's there, right? And now because I was in demo, right? That's created on the fly. So that later on, if I'm not using it, it will scale down to 0, right? So that's how I would write a Camel application on Kubernetes or Knative using my Camel K operator, right? So how do I do that with functions, right? So same thing over here. If I go to Lambda, so in the Lambda they have this really nice, console where you can start creating a function. So that's what I want to do. I want to create a function, and then let's do a live demo function. And because my runtime right here is like Java 8, I need to update to Java 11, but whatever, I'm doing a Java 8 runtime, and then create function. And it's going to go ahead and create a function for me. Is it my internet or is it Amazon that's slow? Okay, right. So so now I have a function, but now it's actually there's nothing running. So I actually need to write my Camel application. So there's many different runtimes they have available. I guess the better runtime to run on Lambda would be something more scriptive, but because I'm a Java developer and I'm a Camel developer, so I prefer everything as with Java. So I'm gonna use Java, right? So the first thing is I have to create a project and then compile it and then upload this to Lambda function. So what I have to do is go to my application here. As you can see, I have a Camel Lambda live stream application, which has a couple of things I want to fill in, right? So, well, first thing first, we need to fill in the dependencies, right? So, what are the dependencies that I need to have Lambda, right? So, of course, you need to have all the Amazon dependencies, right? So, this is Amazon Lambda specific, right? So you need to have their libraries in order for them to actually trigger. So I don't know if you noticed it, but here they have a place where you can call the particular handlers. So in order to use their stuff, use their triggers, you have to use their code actually. So you have to import their stuff. So import Amazon stuff, right? So that's what's here. So you need to import that. And then I have to decide what kind of Camel dependencies that I need to import. So the one I have is very similar to, it actually is the same thing that I'm doing, like doing a say hello and all that, doing say hello stuff. So in Camel K, that dependency is handled for you, but if you're writing your applications, then package, I think you have to assign it yourself, right? So what I have here is just the core ones. So I need the Camel K, the Camel Main, the Camel Beans, and Camel Direct. And the reason why is because I'll let you know. So I'm gonna start. Oops, that's not the one. Sorry. I'm gonna start writing my camel route, right? So I'm gonna go from, and then I need to go from somewhere, right? So I'm gonna use direct, and then start. And then I'm gonna set, what do I need to do? Set body. And then also simple and just hello. Oops. Hello, and then so similar to what was said before. But this time, because we're using the Amazon triggers, so I don't think I can starting a web server, because that Lambda doesn't do it that way. It doesn't expose everything for you directly, so you have to use its trigger. So I'm just starting a camel route that listens to what's coming in, and then I'm going to set the body and by adding a hello in front. So basically that's what this application is for, right? And then we're going to go to the meat of this Amazon Lambda, which is you need to create a handler, right? So there's a bunch of handlers that you can define. I think I saw a couple of them. There's like S3 handlers, and there's a couple of ones they've done by their partners. There's a lot of like them available, and there's another event bridge one they have. So these kind of just triggers off your functions in Lambda, right? So this one I'm using the API gateway, which is this will be triggered by a gateway call from Amazon Gateway, right? So what I need to do is I need to create a Camel context and all that. I'm just gonna copy it off. So this is so what I did is I started a Camel context, right? Creating a new Camel context, adding the route that I have just built, this route here, right? And then so once this request comes into Lambda, it's going to create a Camel context and then send this data into Camel context, and then just starts off that direct application and returns the informations back to me, and then that was it, right? So I'm just returning my body back to the results and then print out the results. So that's it, right? So I need to go to so let's go ahead and then go to Camel Lambda live stream and then do a Maven clean install. So this is going to compile everything and then package everything as a jar, right? Once it's compiled, then I can go ahead and then upload in here. Make sure I'm going to the right one. Target. Here you'll find the jar that I have just created, and then click save. So this is going to upload my application onto Lambda. But how do I trigger that, right? So I need to add a trigger. So, and this time I want to, so there's a bunch of them right here. That's automatically created, like provided by Lambda, Amazon. I'm using the RESTful gateway here. So I'm gonna create an API. Gonna use this one. That's not worried about security right now because I'm doing some testing, and create. And so now that it's going to provide me with a URL here, and this URL is going to start the Lambda application. So what I need to do is to go ahead and then go to a post, send it off here, and then doing this here, and then send. Oops, internal server errors. Let's see what's wrong. Let's do a test. Let's do a demo test. I wonder why. Let's do a test. Oh, you know why? Because the handler names is different. So I had a different name for my handler, right? So what was the name of my thing? I call it handler, of course. Save. And then gonna call it again. And there it comes back with hello, Christina Lin. And then if you go to the logs, you get to see what's happening there. Yep, to see what's going on and all that here in Lambda. But with so now like my application's gone because it's scaled down to 0 in OpenShift or serverless Knative, right? So in order for me to see it back again, I can just call it over again. So let me just send it again. See, it's gonna come up. So if you want to see logs, the logs is right here, right? So you can see all logs that's coming in and all that. So I was lazy, I didn't write any logs at all, but as you can see that, let's just send that over again. It's coming back here. So that's how you get the logs and all that. And then you get to see the details and how everything was running. When you get more coming in, you'll see all that pop details of memory usage and CPU usage. As in Lambda, it's right here, right? So we get to see it right here. Close this, it's already done. So you get to see over everything right here, when the duration, invocation, all that. So that's how a Camel developer would do, right? So like how a Camel developer would do that on Amazon Lambda and on Knative, right? So what I found is that if you're Java developers, the experience you get from Lambda is not as well compared to if you want to do it on Node.js, because it's not, so if you do that on Node.js, it's pretty simple, right? So it kind of, you can just, hold on, where's my Node.js stuff? I guess in Lambda, they have something right here. You can just write your Node.js application, and then you get to code it right away, and then the same thing happens, right? So that's very similar to what I just did. So for a Camel developer, I don't know, like it feels like I have to do a lot of like compiles first, and then upload it, and then I see something happens, right? So that's one thing. Okay, so the other thing right now is I want to get a list from Amazon S3, right? So I don't have anything right now in that bucket. I should have like put something in there first, but you know, it's gonna be an empty list. But whatever, let's go ahead and see how I did it, right? So, and in order to save time, I think I only have 10 minutes more, but that's okay. Let's go cd camel. So what I'm going to do right now, if you take a look, is that since if my application gets invoked, I want to like get a list of what's in the S3 bucket and then return it, right? So same thing happens here. If I get a request, this is going up, and then get a list of what's available in S3, and then comes back. So I guess that I was thinking about this scenario because I think S3 is coming. It comes right from you know, Amazon. So Amazon might have something easier for me to interact with. That was original thought, right? So by adding on top of this application, all I need to do is just talk to S3 and then get the list back, right? So that was like the intention. So for me to do that in Knative, right, or OpenShift Serverless, all I need to do is I did that a little bit different with this one. I think you've probably seen that already done in my other demos, but I'm gonna do that again. So as you can see, I have application that goes, so that's written in a similar way of how I did that in the Amazon Lambda one previously, right? It starts with a direct and then does something. So here it goes to S3 bucket, and then retrieve the list of objects, and then split it, and then just shows you whatever is in that bucket, right? So currently it's empty, so you're gonna see like a blank bracket. All right, so that's all I need to do. And oops. But how do I expose that as an API, as a RESTful services? So in here I have a Open API, like it's a Swagger or Open API standard that I have predefined here. It just shows that I have a list I want to expose as get, and that just shows you an array of strings, right? So that's probably it, right? So I'm going to go ahead and start it by doing a camel run, and then just telling my application where to find the Oops, I'm in the wrong folder. Let me go into the right folder first. And then API. Oops. I am going to run it again. And then it's going to create this API application for me. And then I can retrieve it. So if you go back to the Kubernetes, you'll find that it's gonna start compiling, generating stuff, and then it's gonna come up. So it's gonna take a while for me to do it. So let's take a look at how I do it. Now I can see it's starting to do like the build and all that. So that's for Lambda. We're gonna do exactly the same thing. So this is my Lambda application, that I have started, that I already did. So as you can see, the actual camel route is so the camel route here is exactly the same as this. I'm not making any changes, or it's gonna be exactly the same, because I couldn't find. So the problem is because if you want to write Lambda, you have a place where you can receive the events that's going to start up your functions, and then you have a place to actually add a destination. So at the time when I wanted to create this scenario, I thought they have a scenario where I can just put it into Lambda, right? But it doesn't look like the case, right? They don't have anything other than the topics and the queues, or their Kafka content, or their Kafka stuff, or you're gonna invoke another Lambda, right? So for me, that means that I have to find a way to write back to the S3 bucket, right? So Camel seems to be a very wise option, because it just goes down to, go to Lambda and then find out what's going on, and get the information back, right? So that's why I use this, right? So I wrote the same thing, and the things that I changed for a little bit comparing to the previous one is the libraries, right? So the libraries I need to import is a little bit different, because I'm using the S3 component, so I need to import it, as well as the Jackson libraries, because obviously I was doing some marshalling, parsing the informations in, so that it will display a little bit better. So that's kind of that's kind of the difference between all that. So let me go ahead and then terminal, new terminal, let's go and then create a terminal on S3, and then do a Maven clean install, which is gonna do the compile for my S3 libraries, right? Cool. And let's go back to the OpenShift and see if that's ready. Whoa, I think it's ready, because if you take a look at serverless, this one's here. So that means I would have a application. Oh, let me go to the developer view, so it's more prettier. The topology actually shows you I have an API that's not running, because obviously this one is not serving right now, because it's scaled down to 0, right? So let me go ahead and then just call that. So I need to get this URL here, and then you know what? Let's do curl, easier. And I think it's called list. And as you can see, it's going to bring the application up. And once it's up, it's going to return me with the S3 bucket. It's going to go up and then retrieve anything. You're not going to see anything that's available, right? So currently it's like 0, nothing, right? So same thing to Lambda. So I am not going to create a new function. Let's just stick with this one, but updating it, right? So I'm going to update this to the Camel Lambda S3 target, the new target, save. And then I can go to this one, and I can like curl this. And it's going to go and then fetch that information back to 0 again, right? So you can see that now it's coming. It needs some time, right? So it needs to some time to start off. So you can see that now I have the same thing coming back exactly with the 0 content and 0 list. Next time I'll put something in there when I make a real video of that. So yeah, so oh, okay. Font size. Okay, so I've got a question here. The font size larger. All right, so I'll do that next time. I thought I already did. I've already enlarged it like already once, but I'll do that next time. So yeah, so sorry about that. Too late. And what OpenShift version is this? This is OpenShift 4.4. So I hope I answered your questions right at the end. Sorry. All right, so that's my demo for today. So today you've seen me how to do a Camel application that's running on Lambda, and the other one's running on Knative, and the other one is writing to S3, and the other one is both getting information from S3, but using different platforms. And I hope that gives you an idea of how you want to use your application and how you want to create your serverless stuff. And I think we can dive, and then there's other stuff you can actually see on Lambda. Like some of the stuff you can see here is, so they have a place for you to do like basic settings on the timeouts and all that. And then doing X-rays, which is trace your application. So I think both of them does it in a similar or different way. So this one you have to active the tracing, but for Camel K, I think you have to do another step by enabling Jaeger in the application. So it's gonna connect to the Jaeger application and get the tracing. So that's a little bit different. I haven't dived into the AWS X-ray. I don't know if you have to add another libraries to this one and then configure. I'm not sure, but I mean, right, so I think both of them does the same thing, and then you can actually set the maximum concurrencies and you can actually scale out and all that. So this is all similar to what Knative is actually doing. So I don't know, so that's it. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed today's session. All right, I'll see you next time. Let me know what you want to see. Hold on, let me go back to this. Let me know what you want to see next time. I would love to, like, give me some ideas. I'm running out of ideas already. I don't want to do another Azure function testing thing because it's kind of a pain. I have to learn everything from scratch. But anyway, thanks everybody. Bye.